You're on.
I would think so. February 10th, regular meeting of the Knox County Commission order. Local commissioners are present. And I guess we're going to start with commission updates according to our agenda. Does anybody have anything they would like to address?
We could do the legislative update.
Sure.
We can do that.
Yep.
Okay. So LD 2158 was the act to help Knox County with our budget committee and to fill the seat on the budget committee. And I'm happy to say that the hearing a couple of weeks ago went very well. The work session just last week went very well. They made one small amendment, which was the sunset date, which was originally in April of 29. They moved it to December 31st of 28. And so other than that, no other amendments. It passed unanimously out of the committee. They have not reported it out of the committee yet, which is the next step that gets it to the House vote and so on and so forth. But once it is moved out of committee, it hopefully should go pretty quickly. And because there was unanimous support from the committee, that typically means that we'll, knock on wood, go smoothly through the rest of the process and quickly, because it is an emergency bill. So as soon as the House and Senate have voted, and it is signed by the governor, the law is immediately enacted, which is great. So we can start work right away. So just waiting for the rest of the process to keep moving. And I feel very optimistic that we can begin the budget work sometime in March. You know, granted, that timing could change a little bit, but definitely by, hopefully by March. So fingers crossed for a smooth process.
It goes into effect immediately, and we would have to have a special meeting to appoint a member. I mean, we could appoint all five, but it seems to make most sense for us just to appoint one person to the budget committee, at which point then they have a quorum so that they can have their own meeting, appoint their own members. I believe a lot of this came up because we were talking about appointing people to the committee, and we we're trying to figure out what step they have to get sworn in. And yes, once we appoint somebody, they have to get sworn in. Once that person is sworn in, then we would have a meeting, or they would have a meeting. And once they're at full strength, then we can start the budget process.
And I would say, yes, in agreement, let's just do one budget committee member. I think we were, one of the points that we were trying to make with our testimony was that we're not trying to take control over the budget committee meeting, we the commission. We really just want to be able to make it functional, and we only need that one person that we have to vote in. So.
And we pretty much have a full slate of people who are willing to take those positions that have already been nominated by the town. So it shouldn't take very long to get most of those people on board and get going as soon as that's.
I believe the one position we still need somebody from either Knox or from Rockport or Hope. Is that correct?
The one more thing. It's just in my head and now it's escaping me. All right, I think of it, I'll let you know.
I attended the Camden select board meeting a few weeks ago because they had a situation where they had a call out at Hannaford in Camden, a big fire call out, and Rockport didn't show up, and it was a concern. And so, together, and they worked it out. Turns out Rockport was paying attention. They were just at a function. But I went to the meeting to say the county is working on officially appointing someone to be a fire EMS coordinator to help communication through all the departments. We talked about it at the emergency, at the management, EMA management. What's that called?
Executive board meeting.
Executive board meeting that looks over at the dispatch center. We talked about it last week. So we just need to dot the i's and cross the t's and make it official. I did hear from Jason Peasley today that, the chief in Rockport saying that, somebody from, one of their board members from, Rockport, select board members had heard about it and they wanted to know more about it. So the sooner we can officially move that forward and let people know about it. And there was some content to run the fire departments. We're not here to, take over anything. We're here to help and try to make communication better.
You really just said, I'm from the government, I'm here to help.
That's not my problem. That's Bob's problem. That's a whole other story. So yes, I did. Oh dear.
Anything else?
I can tell you that COVID is rearing its ugly head again in the community, and the smartest thing to do is to not catch it and then give it to your wife, because it does not go down well with the rest of the family. But all are healthy now.
Remember?
I did remember whatever that was, but I did remember that I wanted to thank Representative Fluker and Representative Matlack, who both were, Representative Fluker was the lead sponsor of our bill, and Representative Matlack was a very vocal and helpful advocate with the committee and did a lot of work to explain the situation, and just very grateful to them both.
And also for the work session, Representative Geiger was there too,
Thank you.
but didn't have to speak. We've been going to the Maine County Commissioners Association meeting. The Legislative Policy Committee has a few things that are going on. One is, in addition to that, there's one of the movements in the state, for some strange reason, is to change the deeds reimbursement or the deeds tax formula so that we would be getting less every time we do a deed, changing it from, I think, about 10% to about 8%. And all of the county commissioners and administrators are against it. It goes to, I believe today may be a work session or, yeah. And so they're discussing that. Hopefully that will fail. Another one that they're working on is the jail reimbursements, trying to get out of the corrections committee extra funding for all of the jails throughout all of the counties, because we all know all of the counties are hurting for money. And so this is an attempt to get just raise the amount of reimbursement that the counties get from the state to run our jails. Of course, the reason for that is a lot of the things that the jails have to do are based on mandates from the state. And there has not been any increase, though there are increased mandates, there's no increased funding that's happened for the last few years. So it's an attempt to try to get a little bit more money from the state for that. We also meet, the risk pool meets once a month, our insurance. And you'll be happy to know that Knox County's apportioning has gone down a little bit. It's only a couple $100, but $100 is a nice thing. The other part of the risk pool is they also insure our jail. And we don't know exactly where the jail is going and how it's going to work. So we're still spending through the risk pool the same amount of money as we did in the past, even though we've changed our jail. But I think it's going to change eventually. We just don't know how much it's going to eventually change, because it's based to a certain extent on experience. So that's all stuff that's being worked on through the County Commissioners Association. Yeah.
I just heard yesterday.
Sounds ringtone.
About LD 2124, which is the emergency shelter funding and the real estate transfer tax, that it was sort of characterized as the value of properties are increasing, and so that seems to be their excuse for why they can take more away from counties. Because we're in theory getting more from that transfer tax because property values have gone up. I understand their argument and would also say that the cost of doing business for the county is going up pretty significantly. And, I think, I'm sure that the County Commissioners Association will do a good job of refuting that. And I know that the Registry of Deeds organization will also be testifying against that. But I just want to say publicly that I support looking for funding for emergency shelter. I think that's a really important thing for the people of our state. I just think it's a little bit short-sighted to take that funding from counties, which are almost across the board really hurting financially, so.
Anything else? If not, I'll open the floor up to public comment. Is there anyone who would like to address the commission?
Afternoon, Commissioners.
We all have to dress up like that for going to a public comment.
I'll get you. You know me, Pat Volpe, your sheriff, but I'm also a resident of the town of St. George. Before you today to say thank you. As you heard, legislative sentiment has been very positive. To say thank you to the three of you for listening to my concerns that I've raised recently. And having some very candid and tough conversations, but it has led to some very good outcomes and some very collaborative efforts as we move forward. And I want to say thank you. And specifically, what I want to also say thank you for is all the work around the legislative stuff to deal with our budget crisis. To see something come unanimously out of committee is pretty impressive. And the leadership that you've shown to get us there was very helpful in getting that. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would turn that around, and we've been to a number of these legislative hearings now, and you've been at all of them too, so thank you, Sheriff. Any other public comment? Seeing as there's none, we'll move on to the rest of the agenda, which includes routine business. And we'll list these all at once, which is this agenda, the department head reports, the payroll and expense warrants, and reserve withdrawals. Do I hear a motion?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? No. If there's no discussion, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed. Then discussion items. First one is Two Bridges Regional Jail Steering Committee. And I believe Sheriff and Captain Wood was going to talk about it.
So thank you for hearing myself. Captain Wood has been spearheading this effort in the last discussions, obviously tough around the budget itself, but I think there's some very fruitful things coming, and we can fill you in on what this committee work looks like it could be as we look to what is our corrections futures.
Just to follow up on that, so basically, this committee would allow us to sit in right now. It wouldn't give us any voting authority, but this committee would allow us to start the foundation to work with the collaboration of Two Bridges, which would allow us to be a partner with them down the road. I do believe I sent some emails to the commissioners and all you reference to some guidance of how they set their structure up and things. I did have a couple of individuals that showed interest of being on the committee. A couple of names that came up was Roger Peabody and Bill Pluger, which he's terming out this year. So they're willing to be on that committee, and it would be up to you guys if that's something that you support to have those individuals on the committee. I do believe that the other counties are running with about 6 people on that committee, is what they're looking at. And I think what I gave you for a structure is the sheriff and the commissioner has to be on it statutorily, and then the rest can be kind of ultimately do that. Understanding that we do not have any voting authority yet. This is just to build that foundation until we get there. And if we become a true partner with Two Bridges, then we would have some of that voting authority with them to make decisions as a whole.
My understanding, it's always been the plan for us to become a voting partner in, it's just that it's gonna take some time.
In our long-term discussions, so if you remember back to when we started the Corrections Collaborative a few years ago, that was some of the things we were looking at, is how can we share, how can we become part of this bigger authority? So some of those special committees came out saying, yes, that some of the route we want to go is trying to make this a formal, 3-county, 4-county type of situation. SMRT in particular has been looking at that for us. Again, I keep referencing it, unfortunately, it's still in draft form, not completed, but at some point, Wayne Appleby in particular, who's kind of the lead for that, has been in communication with Amber and I as far as trying to set something up, either to meet with commissions individually or as a collective to go through basically what we can continue to anticipate if we run as is versus if we take an alternative route. And like I said, this, even in their minds, it is more favorable to go towards a regional collaborative versus doing it on your own, just because of the continued increases in demands and services.
Follow up.
I'm totally in favor of it.
My understanding is that Two Bridges was formed by state legislation, and it's probably going to require state legislation for us to become a member. We can't just have it be voted on by them, it needs to be statutorily added. And
So-
this-
Yeah, that's correct. So what this is they're gonna form basically a study committee, if you will, with us as members of that, to then help create legislation to change it if that's what ends up being found through that committee.
But I mean, when we talk about long-term plan, it's not just simply a matter of everybody said, this is good, we'd like you to join. It's a matter of going through the state legislature and getting that approved. There was some discussion, I think, also that if everybody joins at the same strength of membership, you now have a committee of 18 people or something like that, which may be too many. That they might want to, when we finally become a member, if we do, cut down the membership a little bit.
That is a discussion that they did bring up. And also there is some discussion to work with the current bylaws that are in-house with the authority now to incorporate.
And so we assume that our representative to this committee would start off by being the sheriff. I would expect,
So
because you are ultimately responsible for our inmates. Right.
So my recommendation is one of you folks, myself, or the sheriff's position, jail administrator, because Two Bridges, they share one, but we have our own, so it's good for that person to be involved. And then whomever else from there that we choose, especially if they're parties that are very interested.
I had originally thought that it made sense for there to be one person from each of our districts representing our districts, so that we would each nominate somebody before we voted on it. And I know, and you may have heard, but I would have liked to have nominated Luca Mellon as our representative, or at least as my representative. So that would bring us up to 3 if we also take the other 2 that you've named.
Should give us 6, which is what they currently run at base from each of the other 2 participating.
And with I think we all agreed that Morgan would be the representative from the commission. Which is what my,
Yeah, absolutely.
do we have a time that they're planning on meeting? When's the next meeting?
March 11th at 3 p.m.
At Two Bridges, I assume.
Right, they also do a Zoom.
You said March 11th.
Yes. They were having it.
Roger and Bill are both from my district, so that sort of
This is
leaves.
not an official.
No, no,
It's representative. We think long term, if we ever do this, it seems to make sense for it to be, yeah.
It's just that little district too heavy because Captain Wood is also. I'm fine, but other people may not be.
You're Alton? St. George. Wow. So it's a little district heavy too.
Well, I mean, if you feel strongly enough about it, if you have in your district that
Not aware of anybody that at this moment that might be interested, but yeah.
I mean, let's face it, your district doesn't even need proving.
We're true, right?
We're such angels, you're correct. Well, let's see how it goes with people. I don't know that, if we've got people that are interested and willing to do it, I think instead of trying to
Right.
come to us, somebody that, hey, do you want to be a part of this? If we have people that are interested and want to do it, let's let them do it. And, you know, we can change it at some point down the road. Especially, we're gonna have fewer people in time as hopefully things go to a membership.
Mhm.
So we wouldn't be able to have that. Anyway, so I'm fine with where we are right now.
Anything else about Two Bridges? How's while we have you here, how's the report going on the, air holding, facility as well as Two Bridges?
So far, everything went very smooth for us. It was a very smooth transition. We anticipated the worst, but it ended up being pretty smooth transition for us. So everything was smooth as it could for us. And at this point in time, everything is going good.
How have the public that you've had to deal with, been with it so far, having to transport up there and back?
I haven't heard too much feedback from the public. Just the public has a lot of questions of why we were in this position and what, stuff like that. So I know a lot of people out there, so that ask inquiring that question, so I kind of educate them as we go along. They seem to be pretty receptive of what we're going through and everything, so. Other than that, I haven't heard a whole lot. It seems to be going pretty good. I was still working on some things that was still, some of the individuals requested in the beginning, still working on that stuff and getting that in place too. People, the video presentation and stuff, so.
Anything else with this gentleman? Thank you. Next item for discussion is the roof. The grant we didn't get.
We didn't get the grant. Many different reasons, but I believe the number one reason was, we had a grant match fund, for lack of better, that was specifically kind of for something like this. We didn't find out that they don't accept that until after everything was due. So they do have opportunities throughout the year. I think another one's coming up in April, so we'll obviously pursue that in a different way. But it does require having some sort of reimbursement or match from a nonprofit organization specifically, and I don't think the county would ever go ask for that. So we're gonna keep looking. I know Jim and I are gonna work diligently to see how we can work this into the 26 budget as a backup plan, because it's not gonna get any better. So it is something we're gonna have to address.
Well, we're talking about the building, how's the heat situation going?
It's fixed. Thank you, Jim.
Good. Yeah, we finally got the parts in there and, yeah, it's a lot better.
That's great.
Oh, yeah, that was too long being down, but yeah.
Good to hear. Thank you.
It's difficult when you have to rely on other or outside contractors or vendors to get you certain parts to be able to do the work, right? So this wasn't a holdup on the county, just, we don't fix it, this is just having to go through that. Thank you for asking.
Can you remind me the funder that you had applied to for the roof?
It was the National Historic Society Historic Building, I can email it to you, something along those lines, yeah.
I have well, so in my professional life, I'm a member of the Maine Philanthropy Center, and they have a whole resource to look for grant opportunities. So I can do some digging to see if there are other grant opportunities from other funders. Thank you. Sure.
My question is, how much is it costing us in buckets? To put underneath the leaks in the roof?
Yeah. Getting worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right above courtroom 1, Superior Court is. Starting to blister our historic ceiling, which is an expensive paint job. We've got plastic up there, but it can't catch all the drops.
So this is one of those things where, though it's gonna cost us money, it's gonna cost us more money if we don't fix it.
Right.
Put it in the budget, yes.
And then, so we have to wait for the new budget in order to fix this?
Yes.
And it's springtime, yeah, we can't fix it till it gets warmer out.
Yeah, it's true.
Nothing we can do in anyway, so, okay, not a budget problem, it's a major problem.
A bit of both, but yeah.
Can't fix it if it's raining, and it doesn't leak if it isn't. Right. Other discussion item is how we're doing on the budget so far in January 2026, year to date with our diminished.
So we are still wrapping up 2025, should have those soon. As far as January 26, I'm still playing a bit of catch up, but I briefly chatted with our finance director, and when I looked at it as well, I don't see anything concerning, no red flags, spending seems to be going very well, and I wanted to thank department managers for really buckling down, really being mindful of overtime, all of that stuff. And at the same time, the legislative process going forward in a positive direction. So we're diligently wrapping up 26 proposals so that we're ready to go for the process. But no concerns so far. And again, with all the other momentum, I'm hoping we will come.
Couple of things that came to mind is, one is where we are moving ahead with the legislation and hopefully it passes. Hopefully, we're ready as soon as we get it in hand to start the budget process as soon as we possibly can. I know that's a lot of work because we're still dealing with what happened in, the beginning of this year with a diminished budget, but it seems like the sooner we can be ready, the sooner we can get on with our regular budget.
Yep, yeah, that is the goal, is as soon as we have that, we can schedule a point, how you all discussed earlier, get that one number in.
And I know I used the word diminished budget, but it's last year's budget. There are counties that are in the same state as we are, who can't adopt this next year's budget. And their state law requiring them to meet the budget only allows them 80% of last year's budget. So they really are working on a diminished budget, and we're fairly fortunate that we at least have that much money. And the third item that I thought of was something else that has been in the news. There are accounts that the reason they think that they're having a hard time is because they haven't had an audit in 4 or 5 years. I would like to thank Kathy and you, especially that we are up to date with our audits. I know it's taken a lot of work working with the auditors, begging, I think is the word I would have used, to get them, but we are one of the few counties that is up to date with our audits. Thank you. I don't think we get enough press for how well we are managed. Thank you. Anything else? Other discussion items? Do you have anything else that we need to discuss?
I don't believe so.
Any questions for the administrator? No. Then we have an action item, which is an act to appoint nominee Eric Quattrano, law enforcement, to the Knox Regional Communications Center Executive Board for a 2-year term beginning January 1st, 2026, and ending December 31st, 2027. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Discussion.
Where is, Mr. Quatrano from? What department does he represent?
He is the chief of Thomas.
Thomas.
Yeah.
He was at the meeting we had last Wednesday.
Okay,
Yeah, we had a last minute, somebody didn't want to continue filling the seat, so that user group executive board met, they decided to put Eric, so this is their formal. Yeah, new chief in Thomaston, he actually helped us in dispatch quite a bit last year. He's a new player, so very excited to work with us. Chief one.
So he has some experience working inside the ivy walls of the dispatch center.
Yeah, in the other side.
Any other discussion? We know that the executive board, which is the executive board for the Regional Communication Center, is made up out of, how many different members? Is it 9?
7 members,
7 members
2 EMS, 2 law, 2 fire, and me mayor.
that represent people from all over the county.
Then the users group is any chief that utilizes services in the county, and they have an opportunity regularly to do this well.
And I have to say, there have been concerns for the last year going to the membership where they're concerned about the dispatch center. They're no longer concerned, they're very complimentary, and they spent this past meeting working on getting their call-out schedules sort of more combined so that it's easier for the dispatch center to dispatch people, because they actually worked on trying to figure out how to make things a little simpler and easier. So it's starting to work. As they said, we're starting to do the things we've wanted to do for a couple of years, so it's moving forward really nicely.
Wonderful.
congratulations to everyone.
And so we have a motion on. Done with discussions, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed. Next item is an executive session. For us to convene an executive session to discuss or consideration of the employment, appointment, assignment duties, promotion, demotion, compensation, evaluation, disciplining, resignation, or dismissal of an individual or group of public officials, appointees, or employees of the body or agency pursuant to 30A MRS 4056A.
So,
That sounds like a rap.
I believe we have to repeat it. Yeah. Any discussion? Seeing as there's none, I will call the vote. All those in favor? 3 in favor, none opposed. Thank you all for coming. We will reconvene. Oh, we are back in session after the executive session. Nothing has come out of the executive section for us to add to the agenda at this point. So we have no votes coming up after this. I don't think there's anything else. We don't have another meeting scheduled. But I believe we will wind up with a couple of special meetings coming up based on some of the stuff that's was on our agenda today.
Budget committee,
With that
budget committee, like,
budget committee, hopefully that's done before the next regular meeting, yeah. And also, yeah, there's a bunch of other. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Any other business to come before the commission? Seeing as there's none, all those in favor of adjournment?
I'll second the motion. Yeah.
I don't know that, you know, in a small body like this, I don't know that a second is really necessary on a motion to adjourn. But that's quite all right.
We don't know, so we might as well. do
I
it
do have,
just to
I
make
do
sure we
have Robert's rules of thumb, I can bring them. Oh, there you go. Excellent, thank you.
Motion to adjourn. All those in favor? Three in favor, none opposed.